13, during school break, she started working at her family's oyster farm located at the confluence of the Umpqua River and the Pacific Ocean. Today, Cedar is going to share with us the why that motivates her to do what she does and how she does it. In short, what led her to become the water engineer she is today. Please help me welcome your co-worker, our fellow Toastmaster, Cedar Simmons, to the stage with her speech entitled, My Why Water, aka Cedar the Cedar, S-E-E-D-E-R.
Thank you very much. Do you ever think about why you do what you do? What drives you to be here, to be the engineer, the architect, whatever it is you do for Jacobs? What motivates you? I was about 13 years old when I first started learning about the importance of water quality. I started working, as Kent mentioned, at my family's oyster farm. Not squash, oysters. So who here is definitely allergic to oysters? Shellfish. Okay, good. So this is the mouth of the Umpqua River, and this is the Pacific Ocean, and this is my family's oyster farm. So about 4 years later, I drove off to engineering school, and just a few years after that, I started designing my first wastewater treatment plant. And today, I'm working on a massive project with Ryan and Enla to help prevent combined sewer overflow to the Puget Sound, and I've never looked back. So yeah, these little black dots, they're not oysters, they're buoys, and we'll get there, we'll get to that. But this is a beautiful picture I did not take, but of my family's oyster farm. So water quality is very important to me, and it's part of why I get up in the morning and come to work. If I had to draw a process flow diagram of what my company, my family's work does, my firm, it would be we grow the oysters, grow the babies, we harvest, we go out here and harvest, and we process them, and then we sell them. So we're not going to talk today about that order because it's probably a little bit unfamiliar. We're going to talk about it in the order of what you are probably most familiar with, which is selling. You might buy these oysters, and water is super important to every aspect of those four processes. We're going to talk about selling them, and then processing them, not so much the harvest, and then growing, and how water matters in all of these parts. All right, so we're going to start with selling. We can sell. Who's had barbecued oysters? Anybody? If you don't like oysters, you can skip it. You can eat the bacon, the spinach, and the butter. Fantastic. We've got shucked oysters, shooters, and stew. So these are lots of ways we can eat oysters. All right. For the shucked, we've got yearlings, extra smalls, mediums, sorry, just disappeared, your speaker disappeared, and large. So here's some different ways we sell the shucked. Oops, ran out, here. All right, so who's got, I don't think anybody has the yearlings, but these are the yearlings. So this is about how big a 1-year-old oyster is. We call it a bite size. Who's got extra small? Anybody have an extra small? All right, so that's about a 2 bite. This is a shell of an extra small. Here's a small. We say these are about 3 bites. And mediums, these are the barbecued ones. These are the ones you want to stick on a barbecue and just pour butter on. And then I didn't want to go with my poster board, so the large. Anybody like large oysters?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? This is a large. So I actually shucked and ate this oyster. It was fantastic.
Wow.
We threw this on the barbecue. So these guys are filter feeders, and so when they're in the water, you can, and I scuba dove with my dad, and you can actually see them open up. And so they remove copper, heavy metals from the water. And I was just fascinated by this. fascinated by what these guys can do with the water. So this is the cup. So you can, this is the bottom and this is the top. So, okay, so after selling, what do? We process these oysters. So we take, here's my knives. So these are what the shucking knives look like when you first take them out of the box. Brand new. This is what my knife looks like after years of use. It's actually useful. When they first come out of the box, they're not useful. So this is what my knife looks like, and here's a little triangle that I carved into it. So that's shucking. We shuck it. And this is a breakdown knife, which is the tip actually broke off, but it is much different. It's a blunt. And when we shuck, we try not to squash the oyster. Word of the day. Thank you. So here's what a shucked oyster looks like. This is called, I don't know if anybody else calls it this, but it's a shuck hole. And what we do is we try to break a muscle that is there's a muscle on the bottom shell and there's a muscle on the top shell. And that's what holds the shells together. This is kind of it. You guys can see the muscle. So that's the sign, evidence, scarring, if you will, of the muscle. So that's how shuckers get really good. And I was never a shucker. I shucked, I was never that good at it. We're gonna get now to what I was really good at, which is growing these oysters. Seeding. Can I have a volunteer come up and be a buoy with me? All right, Roxanne, that's the first hand I saw. So this is, we grew long line methods, and we grew oysters with the long line method. It's really quick, we're gonna talk about this. So Roxanne's a buoy and I'm a buoy. And what I used to do is seed oysters, and that's putting these old shells on these polypropylene ropes. And these old shells have baby oysters on them. And they hang in the water, and these would grow into big clusters. And that's how our oysters taste better than everyone else's. They stay in the water, and they're off the bottom, they're not in the mud. And the water, they just are able to filter through that water out and eat the diatoms that are in the water. Thanks for being my buoy, Roxanne. So this is how I learned about water quality and how fantastic these oysters are at filter feeding. And I think you can outgrow an oyster too. I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.